Welcome back to the penultimate episode of Super J Recap. We're going over the 1995 Super J Cup. I'm Kyle, and I'm joined by a special guest for this episode.
Hello, everyone. I am independent wrestling referee Rob Page.
Yeah, Rob's back. Independent wrestling referee.
Sometimes commentator.
Sometimes commentator, slaughterer of wrestling trivia on this channel.
Yeah, I am, aren't I?
Yep. So
everyone's too scared to play me.
They're either too scared or Pete.
Yeah, well.
And Pete's like, I'm going to do my best. And it's like, yeah, you will.
Yeah, I mean, good for you, Pete.
Yeah. So this actually, what we're going over this episode is a non-tournament match, and it's probably the best match of the entire night. Spoilers. It's kind of what this show is remembered for, and that is Rey Mysterio versus Psicosis.
Yeah, it was, before we break it down, like, the first time I ever watched it was I watched it twice when we did this, and these were the first two times that I've ever seen this match, and yeah.
Because you're, an old school wrestling fan, you've seen Rey and Psicosis have multiple matches,
Yes, of course.
Against each other. I mean, this was the big touring match of the early 90s in a lot of ways. And you can see why.
Yeah, like it was definitely ahead of its time, especially with 25 years of hindsight.
Yeah, because we said a lot throughout this series that, like, the Japanese, like, junior heavyweight style is kind of the style that moves forward. Like,
yeah, totally is.
And this kind of is the epitome of, like, this is the new lucha. Because we have, earlier in the tournament, you've got Dos Caras actually doing a pretty decent performance.
Yeah.
But that was, old school and, like, maestro style, like the submission style lucha. This is the high-flying lucha that kind of everyone knows now today.
This is the lucha that everyone loves now today. Everyone steals from. Yeah. And you can definitely see that in what they did during this match.
Yeah. But also, like, I like the fact that I even put in my notes, like, where did Rey get that cape?
I love the cape. It was great.
It was like a Batman cape.
It most certainly was a Batman cape. Like, that was one of the first things I noticed.
Yeah.
Outside of Rey having, like, the Rey that we know now, obviously, we remember him in that gear, but you could see his eyes most of the time.
Yes.
And that was something that stuck out right away, was the cape and then the mask with the mesh-covered eyes.
Yep.
So that was different. The other thing that I really noticed, and it kind of threw me off, was Damien Says.
Yeah.
On the outside with Psicosis and Ultimo Dragon with Rey Mysterio.
Yep. Because this was because it was the J Cup, like, you see everyone start to kind of gather towards the last matches of participants. Yeah. And like, Ultimo's out there with Rey, in case, like, the crowd didn't know, like, hey, this is the one you cheer.
Which, as we'll get going into this, definitely came in handy.
Yes, it did. Because, it's like Damien 666, even though he, gets eliminated first round.
Yeah.
People knew who he was. So it was like, okay, Psicosis is aligned with this guy. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We see that. And then it's like, Rey's aligned with Ultimo. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it definitely comes in handy later on, like, as the match gets moving.
Yeah.
Having those two guys out there with them.
Yeah, because at first, like, I even put this in my notes, like, it is almost quiet enough that you can hear the camera guys shudder at some points as they're taking pictures.
Yeah, what was it?
At the very beginning.
What was it, like the first 2 minutes or so of the match? You could can hear people zipping up their flies in the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, like
It was so quiet. You could hear them literally bouncing off the cable ropes.
Yep.
It did just no sound whatsoever until Ray does something.
What did it, like the first big spots kind of actually was a botch, because it was the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker.
Like the tilt-a-whirl pancake, and then they went right back to it with the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. That's right. And then Ray lets out like that big and then the crowd blows up finally.
Yep.
But like up until then, there was no noise whatsoever, which I get is partially what the Japanese crowds are known for.
Yeah.
But at least sometimes they make some noise after moves. Like here, there was nothing, which definitely like threw me off at first. I was like, okay, I know the Japanese crowd's quiet, but
usually at least
I didn't think they were this quiet.
Yeah, usually there's at least a buzz and kind of, an overall like sound. But yeah, it was silent of like, we don't really know who these guys are. We think that, this is the alignment, but we're not sure. And we'll just wait. And then, things start happening.
And then it becomes like your stereotypical lucha match where they just hit moves for the sake of moves. But it also made sense.
Yeah, it made sense, at least. Like, there were a few things that you can tell in later matches they just reorder.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that was actually the bigger spot. Maybe we should end on that as opposed to this. But
like, so Ray hit those two backbreakers, and then the very next thing they do is Psicosis whips Ray into the buckle and comes at him with like that... almost like Jeff Hardy type.
Oh yeah, the
corner
rolling,
splash.
Yep, splash, yeah.
And like it just came out of nowhere because Psicosis just had his back broken twice.
Yep.
And then he's up right away. But like I said, it makes sense the further you get down into the match.
Yeah, and then like Ray, Hurricane Rana takes Psicosis to the outside.
Yeah.
Springboard senton.
Where all the photographers just swarm right over to there. And that was, to me, that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Just because you don't see that anymore.
Yes.
Like anywhere.
No.
Especially now, but, like just in general terms, I meant.
Yeah,
like you don't see it.
You don't see that, like, I've been guilty of it at points, too, of, kind of camping on my side of the ring. Mm-hmm. And, kind of staying at least on that side or close to the corner, especially, at a WrestlePalooza where I can't move.
Wow,
in that case, I get away with it because I literally can't move.
Yeah.
But, I'll be guilty of doing that. But yeah, in this smash, like everybody's like, nope, the Super J Cup was designed for, we are getting as many photos of all these wrestlers as possible.
Continue, sorry.
Which is fantastic, which is also why Ultimo Dragon in his 3 matches changes outfits 3 times.
I did notice that. I watched the entire show.
Okay.
But I rewatched those 2 matches. The 2 that, spoilers. Yeah. Anyway, I rewatched this one for sure twice.
Okay.
And I did notice that not Psicosis, Ultimo did change his gear, and I like that. I've always thought that things like that are really, really cool.
Yep.
So that gets a pass for me.
Yeah.
Something else that I really liked was at one point Psicosis hits that top rope tope.
Yes.
And it looks like he gets knocked out during that.
Yeah. Little bit.
Am I right or wrong? He just lays there and you can see the glazed over look in his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Ray starts moving first, and Psicosis, the one who does the move, is just laying on the ground still.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's kind of shaking some cobwebs out.
Yep. Yeah, that was, which I like that tope to the outside too, because
it was awesome.
At that point, Ray is just going crazy with the Hurricane Ranas and the dives.
Yeah.
And And then it pretty much is like Psicosis going, yeah, no, I can do that too, dude.
Oh, look, I can do this shit.
Yep.
And then, bam, just damn near kills himself.
Yep.
It was great. It was great.
And then after that, Rey does a springboard top rope senton to the outside,
which was awesome.
Yeah, which was awesome. And then follows it up with springboard Hurricane Rana, which this was one of those that it's like, okay, I was pretty sure Rey won this match, but I didn't know how he won it. So
because he did that one jumping Hurricane Rana.
Yep.
Like the one from the mat, he just did the standing one.
Yep.
And that looked cool, but that only got 2.
Yep.
So then they got back up on the top, and then he did the springboard Hurricane Rana from the top.
Yeah, and it was so
cool. Pretty.
And also I'm pretty sure Psicosis, apart from almost getting knocked out on that tope, I think he tried to kill Rey with that power bomb.
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yes, he did try to kill Rey with that power bomb.
Yeah. Because it was murder power bomb, top rope leg drop.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget that Psicosis did that twisting senton.
Yep.
I wrote it in my notes as the proto Whisper in the Wind.
Yeah.
Because it kind of it's
I mean, except he does it to a
he does it to
grounded opponent.
Grounded, but
not the standing up opponent.
Yep.
But yeah, I could totally see what you're saying there.
Yep. But Rey moves out of the way of that, and then hits the top rope Hurricane Rana, and then the standing Hurricane Rana for the win.
Yeah. Great match. It was a hell of a sprint though too. It was only it was less than 10 minutes long.
Yeah, this is why I kind of was glad that I started this project when I did, because I wanted wrestling stuff to watch that didn't it wasn't 45-minute long All Japan main events.
Which, don't get me wrong, they're wonderful.
Yes.
But this match is so easy to digest because it is only 10 minutes long. And you don't need to have you don't need those 45-minute slugfests.
No, one of my favorite matches of this entire tournament was Mochizuki and Shinjiro Otani.
Yes.
And it was 4 minutes of them just beating the shit out of each other, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. But that match was a lot of fun. And especially now with the hindsight, because I'd seen the ECW matches.
Yep.
I had seen the WCW matches, and now to see this, which is kind of in between those.
Yes.
And to see what they did in those ECW ones to the Bash at the Beach 96 one, which is their first really big U.S. fight.
Yep.
So, to see the progression now is really, really cool. And, that match was probably my favorite match that I saw on the entire show.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of hands down, the best match overall. It's close to the highest rated on Cage Match. It's a 7.9, and I think the only one that beats it is Ultimo Dragon versus Liger, which was an 8.6.
All right.
Which I can
What's
Styles.
your boy Dave give it?
Dave gave it. Dave thought it was better than Liger and Ultimo Dragon.
Whoa!
Dave gave it 4 3/4.
Okay, all right.
So today he would have given it 5.5.
You might even only give it 3 1/4 nowadays.
Nah, it was in Japan.
Oh, you're right. It wasn't a dome or a hall, I guess. So.
Yeah, but it was in Sumo Hall, so.
5 1/4 probably from Dave now.
But we give Meltzer as much crap as possible, but
So because this is the first time I've listened or talked to you about this project, no offense towards the project that you're doing, but did you talk about the talent that's on this show?
Yes.
Okay, and like how many like ginormous fucking stars there are?
Yep. Because actually, that was the one of the next segments that I get into each episode is uh, as the losers are eliminated.
Hmm.
I talk about what they did in their careers moving forward.
Well, we don't have any losers, and well, I mean, we could talk about Psychosis,
Yeah, I was
I
like, yeah,
guess.
like Psychosis. Yeah, Psychosis. Like we said, goes to ECW, has a short stint there,
Yeah.
has the really long stint in WCW.
What was it? He was there until what, like 2000 in WCW?
Yeah, he was there pretty much until the bitter end. Um,
He wasn't a part of that lawsuit, was he?
I don't think so. I can't remember.
But then I know he does XPW after. Well, he goes back to ECW, so no, he's not, because he's in ECW in 2000.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right.
I did forget about that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, does the short little thing in ECW
Cause
towards the end.
yeah, he's on one of the. I don't remember which pay per view, but I know he's on one of the last ECW pay per views.
Okay.
But I know for a fact he's on there. Obviously, he goes to WWE.
Yeah, he goes to WWE, does the Mexicools thing, and all that, and then has kind of just been kicking around the indies, since then.
I went back to AAA.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think he's doing the Crash as well.
I think so. Let me take a look. See
Because
here.
him and Conan are close still.
Yeah, I want to say so. You don't. I'm not seeing anything about the Crash.
Okay, I think he might be sticking with AAA.
Okay.
Because I know he's not as active as he once was, if I remember correctly. But then the opposite, and usually it's history of the loser going forward, and then I ask, and it always comes off as a silly question, especially beyond the first round of, hey, the guy who won, would you keep watching that guy's matches?
I mean, okay, let's play this game. Would I keep watching the winners' matches?
Yeah, would
Maybe.
you keep
Maybe.
watching Rey Mysterio matches?
I mean, gun to my head, yeah, probably 1 or 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Anybody, let's be real, anybody who's my size, anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a large human being.
Nope.
Knows that Rey Mysterio is like awesome.
Yeah. Rey is. Yeah, it's the same thing like our next episode. Like, I'll just skip the question the next episode because it'll be like, oh, would you keep watching a Jushin Liger match? And it's like, yeah.
Spoiler, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jushin Liger is one of my fucking top 10s.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So, Rob, last thing, kind of overall thoughts on the match, and then do your plugs.
Well, I'll get my plugs out of the way now. You can... Yeah, I got nothing for plugs.
I mean, your social
You can follow
media.
me at Referee Rob Page on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find me, Rob Page, on Facebook. I got nothing coming up, obviously.
Yeah.
Just, you know what? In fact, don't even come to my work.
Yeah.
Stay away. Please, I'm begging you. Do not come in.
Please. Yeah. At this point, you're just like, stay away from my work.
Please.
You guys are in here too much.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Bring your Rona somewhere else. I don't want it here. No, but overall thoughts on the match, I think I kind of went over that already.
Yep.
In the fact that, like I said, I had watched the ECW, I had watched the WCW matches, and now this past couple of weeks was the first time I had ever seen the J Cup matches. And like I said, you can see the progression from the ECW to here, then on to the WCW matches, and they just keep getting better and better.
Yep. Yeah, it's such a treat, like watching these like early on, like you said, seeing the progression, and the fact that like if you watched before, Rey Mysterio cutting a promo in 1995
Yeah.
was
What was
not
that?
good at
No.
all, and
that was
yet
bad.
currently he's one of the better promos on Raw.
Wow.
I mean, it's
No
Raw,
comment.
but you know,
Yeah, no comments. I'm not gonna get into that.
yeah. But yeah, you can follow me at Knocked Out Films on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. And make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for our finals, which will be next week. So, thanks.